Hello and welcome to Mogul Love. Today I have the fantastic, the beautiful, the very talented writer, Anna Brunning. Anna, hi, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
How
Pleasure
are
to
you?
be here.
I have today as well the lovely Rusty Lee. Rusty, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. After having a little choking fit just now, having a little drink.
Oh,
Not
quite
an
early.
alcoholic drink, may I add, just hot water and lemon.
Oh, well, that's good. A hot water level. I thought it wasn't. You haven't started on the old brandy yet?
No, I'm a good girl, I am.
Yeah, really?
So your book is behind you, Lisa. Your
Yeah.
new book.
I'm actually excited, but I'm nervous, because you put like your heart and soul in there and you're like,
Yes.
I told my story and I've never told it before. Like I lost my home and I lost everything and starting again.
Oh,
And it's quite scary to tell your story. And I'm like, I've literally got no nails. I'm like, God, I hope people like it.
Oh, yes.
It is nerve-wracking, but at the same time I think it's going to help so many people. And actually our next guest, our introduction really, Sandro, he helped with the book because he deals with finances and money. So we have got a really exciting show today, ladies. So we've got he's very handsome. He is one of the UK's leading wealth managers in divorce. He's very talented and he just knows everything there is. So, and I think it's really important because if you're going through coronavirus and a lot of people have had so much struggles and it's not easy, so he's going to really help us. And then the next guest I'm really excited about as well, and I know Rusty, you can sing, and her name's called Joanna Forest, and
Yes.
she's the UK's #1 classic selling album. I think she's soprano, and I can't even sing soprano. So
Wow,
I hope
yes.
you get a few singing lessons today, Anna. So he's just coming in. Hopefully we can see him. I thought,
oh, I say, gorgeous man.
he was very handsome.
Hello.
I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
How are you?
Hello, ladies. I'm fine, thank you.
Can you see us?
No, I can't. Hang on a minute.
To hear you.
Well, you're missing a lot not being able to see
Oh,
us. Oh,
There we are. There we are.
Where is he? I can't see you yet.
I can see him. That's enough. Thank you.
Rusty, I have to say, I'm a bit of a boyhood fan of yours, and I know that might embarrass you because
No, it doesn't.
we might give away your tender age, but
I'm 25.
I grew up on the wonderful Rusty Lee.
Oh, bless you. Thank you very much. That's nice. That's
Lovely to meet you. Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too. Very good. Very nice.
Thank you for joining us on the show. And I told the ladies they'd have a treat. So there's a little bit of eye candy for them.
Yes, yes, thank you.
So Sandro he's one of the leading wealth managing experts in the UK, and he specialises in divorce. And we've been talking about divorce and separation and how difficult it is, to start again. And if you've got no money, that's what I wanted to ask you, Sandro. If you've got no money and you need to start again, and I know I did. Oh, literally, I wish I had you at that time. But how do you start again if you have no money? How do you build up wealth?
Well, the thing is, I've been in the situation before where my marriage of 10 years ended. So, I've got the T-shirt. I've lived through that experience, and it is very difficult. And I think everyone at one point or another has experienced financial affluence, where money is aplenty. And I think sometimes they've experienced it when things are pretty tough. So in that respect, money is actually a bit of a blessing, and it can also be a curse. And of course, the same is true of a lack of money, because sometimes with lots of money comes lots of problems. And of course, the opposite is true. I think when you're starting again, I think the first thing to do is to try and, I know this sounds an easy thing to say, but I've been there myself, to try and find some perspective, and also to understand that a lack of money is not necessarily a permanent thing. You can experience difficulty, whether it's emotional hardship or financial hardship. It doesn't last long as there's a plan in place to rebuild your life, your financial structure. In very simple terms, there's a number of things that everyone can do to help rebuild a financial foundation. And that starts with really simple things like understanding your reliefs, your exemptions, all the benefits that are available to you. Often people don't do enough research or seek to understand what they can and can't do. So what's interesting about the UK system is that actually, although we know what HMRC, the Inland Revenue, gives very generously with one hand, they also take away with the other. But if you know your way around the system, let's make this really easy. If you have £1 and I have £1 and my pound is taxed and yours isn't, and we invest our money at the same time, you will make more money than I will.
Okay.
By simple virtue of the fact that there's going to be some money taken away from my pound in the form of tax. So one thing that we do know is that lots of people can earn up to about £25,000 a year and pay no tax. Many people think it's a lot less than that. And that's really just about understanding things like income tax, capital gains tax, inheritance tax, VAT, stamp duty, national insurance, corporation tax, and all the other things that the government in this country like to take away from us. But if you do put a good structure together, you can earn a lot of money and therefore rebuild things much more quickly than would be the case if you were slightly ignorant about money. So I think that would be the first thing. Get really good advice. Understand your reliefs and exemptions. That would be number 2. Number 3, understand risk and reward.
What's the release and exemptions?
So things like reliefs and exemptions would be everybody has a £12,570 allowance. That basically means we can all earn up to £12,570 in the current tax year. That's 21-22 before we penny tax. Then it rises from 0%. So that first little bit is taxed at 0. Then it goes to 20. Then it goes to 50. And then it goes to 20. Then it goes to 40. And then it goes to 45. There are lots of things you can do to stop yourself moving from 0 to 20 or to 40%. Okay. Other things like capital gains tax exemption. Everyone has a £12,300 exemption. What that means is you can crystallize a gain. You can take a profit from something, whether it's property, a stamp collection, watches, and you can make up to £12,300 a year of profit before you penny tax. So if you're really careful, you can stagger your profit over a period of tax years to take maximum advantage of your exemption. People also don't know that they have a savings allowance. What that means is money that you make in the bank for basic and non-rate taxpayers, the first £1,000 is tax-free. So we hear people talking about cash ISAs, for example, a bit of a misnomer because the returns currently on cash ISAs are really, really low. You can oftentimes make more money by keeping your cash in the bank because you're getting that tax-free as long as you're not making more than £1,000 of interest than in a cash ISA. And yet cash ISAs are being sold because people talk about them as being tax-free. So Rusty, those are the kinds of reliefs and exemptions that we talk about. It's just making sure that you kind of tick this financial series of boxes to make sure that the money you have coming into you is not unnecessarily taxed. And that will accept.
So the thing is, a lot of people coming out of divorce, once they come out of their, say the woman, for instance, she might have been at home and the husband's been out at work. She has no idea about which way to turn. So would you suggest to the person, the first port of call would be to someone, a financial advisor, such as yourself?
That's a really good question, actually, Rusty. And what I would say to that is the first thing that anyone should look to do is to empower themselves. You know, I've been in a situation where I've counseled lots and lots of women traditionally, because as you rightly say, oftentimes, and this is a generalization, but oftentimes the woman in a relationship has not been responsible for the financial matters and therefore has to learn right from scratch all the things that she might need to know to make informed decisions. And so empowering oneself, now it might be that you could go onto the internet and find all this information out for yourself, but if you can find somebody who can lead you metaphorically by the hand through a process of understanding. So what is available to me? Maybe, for example, I've come out of this marriage with a lump sum of money. I might have some equity in a home. I may have a lump sum capitalized maintenance settlement, but I have no other income. I don't have a job. I gave it up to look after my family. We can turn capital into income in a really tax efficient way. And that goes back to what I said earlier, that as long as you know and understand the system, take advantage of your reliefs and exemptions, you can actually turn capital into sustainable long-term income, which in turn gives you some financial security. One of the first things we hear from women when they come out of a of a long-term relationship or even a short-term one, what we hear more than everything is, I feel so free, I feel empowered. And you need to apply the same process to financial planning as well.
Excellent. That's perfect, because I had a divorce and I was the higher earner, so it wasn't difficult for me in that way. But other people coming out of a relationship who have got no idea, it's an awful whirlwind. First of all, you've got the heartache of what's happened, and because you don't go in a relationship for it to break up, but then you've got to start slicing up pieces and what goes where. So, that's great advice. Thank you very much for that.
All I can say to what you've just said there, Rusty, is his loss.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Going back to what we've been saying, having money, not having money, actually the same set of rules apply. So, you've got to carefully manage a lack of money, and you've got to carefully manage money. So, when you've got a lack of money, a lot of people, I come across lots of women, for example, who've been left not even in a very difficult financial position, but in an impossible one. They've uncovered lots of debt. They are really struggling to make ends meet, and they also don't know which of the various balls to juggle. So, debt advice, which of these bills do I pay first? As a general rule, what we talk about is make sure that your priority debts are dealt with first. So that's anything that keeps the roof over your head: rent, mortgage, council tax, gas and electric. Interestingly, water is not a priority debt, because water companies, it's against the law to cut off your water supply. So that would be considered other debt. So that would be things like credit cards. A lot of people are put under pressure to repay credit cards, but most of them, if not all of them, are unsecured. So nobody can turn up at your door and start removing items of furniture to repay unsecured debts. And on the subject of debt, often you'll get a debt collector agency letter threatening all kinds of stuff. Debt collectors have no legal power, so they can't enter your home. They can't threaten to take away items. And even bailiffs, who do have those legal powers to enter your home and remove items to repay a debt, normally will only take that action after some kind of court action. So what's really, really important here is what we're saying, hopefully loud and clear, is that if there's a problem, either a lack of money, or if there's too much money, you don't know what to do with it, the first thing to do is understand what your options are, and whether that's combined with taking good advice, hopefully for free. I simply wouldn't want to talk to somebody who's going to charge a fee for giving you advice, because they should be investing in the relationship too. And then you just follow a logical process and take your time. When somebody meets me for the first time, I'm not going to presuppose that they like me, get on with me. I've got a certain kind of personality. Some people like, some people don't, and that's fine. Take your time, speak to 2 or 3 people, get an instinctive sense of, I liked him, I liked her. What he or she said made more sense than what he or she said. I felt more comfortable with them. This is a 10, 15, 20-year relationship you're going to enter into. So pick your financial advisor exactly as you'd pick a husband or a wife to be. Hopefully not the same mistake you made the first time around, but having had that experience, make sure you do your due diligence. Spend as long as you like getting to understand your options, educating yourself, and picking the right person to work with. I think those 3 things are key. And then whether you've got too much money or a lack of it, one way or another, I'm sure we can find a way to help you get to wherever it is you want to get to as far as financial objectives are concerned. There's 2 very good charities, actually. One is Step Change, who are excellent. They're a free charity-based organisation where anyone can go to them for help. And then, of course, this Citizens Advice Bureau are pretty good as well. But Step Change are excellent, and they've got a really good website that provides lots and lots of information. And also, when you're rebuilding things financially, one other thing worth mentioning, again, a free application, is go to the App Store if you've got the means and download an app called ClearScore, which is a really good way of tracking your credit worthiness. So as you're trying to rebuild your financial life, let's say, for example, you've got a very expensive credit card. As many of us know, you can move credit card debt from one provider to another. Let's say, I won't mention the name of the credit card company, but there are oftentimes credit card companies are offering 0 interest for a period of time, 6 months, 12 months. And so by switching your debt balance from one that might be charging 30% interest to another one charging zero, of course, you're going to save yourself a lot of money. But it's not easy to do if you've got bad credit score, which may have come from previous debts, for example, or defaults. So ClearScore is a really good way of checking your credit score, and it gives you lots of tips as to how you can improve your credit score so that you become more creditworthy as far as mortgages and various other financial instruments that you may want to access in the future are concerned.
That's a valuable tip. Thank you.
You know, I just want to thank you so much for coming on, Sandro. You know, you've given some great advice and great tips, and hopefully it helps so many people out there. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
A pleasure. Lovely to see you all.
Lovely to meet you.
Yes,
all the best.
Thank you.
I'll speak to you soon.
Okay. Thanks all very
you.
much.
Take care, Sandro. Lots of
Take
love.
care. And you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, you too.
Thank
Bye.
you. Oh, that was great advice, ladies, wasn't it?
Fantastic advice.
Because you just don't know where to look, do you? So it isn't easy.
I know it's very difficult. It's a horrible situation going through a divorce. Into uncharted waters. Things somewhere you've never been before. It's like the pandemic. It just hits you like a brick.
Yeah.
And you have to deal with it for whatever reason.
You're going through turmoil, you're really in a bad place, and then you've still got to think about money, children, your home. There's so much to think about, and that's why I created the book as well, so I can give everybody a tool there to help them.
Tell me about the book. What's in the book?
So it's called, I'll just get that, the D word.
What's in the book?
The D word, and when he's got to go, the D word. When he's got to go, he's got to go. But it's
right.
I love men. I actually love men. But what it does is it gives you like a roadmap. So I've got legal advice, child psychologists, lawyers, every kind of person there to help you. So nutrition, fitness. I've got Harley Street Skincare Clinic, because when you're going through divorce and separation, it's really difficult and you're not sure where to turn, and you're just like, there is advice out there, but you want the best advice. So I've literally bought the best in their field. Say Sandro's one of them, who've helped create this book to turn.
I was just going to say, is Sandro.
Yeah, I think he's fantastic. I think he's the new Martin Lewis, if not better than Lewis.
Yes,
he is. Yeah, absolutely. And you want to get your mojo back, don't you? So I think he was really a key element to the book. So hopefully this book can turn a lot of people's lives around. So that's what I'm saying. So and
as he says, it's not just for men, it's for men and women, or anyone who needs the help.
That's right, absolutely. Yeah, it is. It's just for those people who are just really stuck. You've got that advice there and help to help them. So I'm super excited because now we've got Joanna. I'm just going to try and let her in. Here goes, my technical skills.
Hi everybody.
Hi Joanna.
How are you?
So nice to see you all.
Good to meet you.
We're really excited because we've had a look at your clips and that, and you literally are absolutely incredible.
Beautiful.
Your voice, I'm like, wow. I know I can't sing. When we wanted to talk about that, we need a few tips from you.
Oh, I think everyone can sing, honestly. Everybody can sing.
That's exactly right.
It's just inside all of us, and I think a lot of singing is just confidence, really, just sort of believing that you can do it and having the confidence to just let it all out and have a go. I think there's so many people who can sing who just think that they can't, and they can. So I think everyone should have a go. It's really good for you as well. I think it makes you feel good, doesn't it?
Oh,
makes you feel happy. That's
I love singing in the bath, but I mean, when I'm singing, the other half is like, Lisa, and the words, I forget the words. But I suppose, is it like, I'd love to be able to sing. And I went on Blue Peter years ago, so embarrassing.
Oh, wow.
I was a little girl and I was lucky to hold the lantern at Christmas, so you're around the Christmas tree singing, and I forgot, this is showing my age now, Goldie the dog come past. I was so busy stroking the dog, I hit this girl on the head, and at the time there was a candle and all the candles spilt down on this girl's, and I caused chaos. So my singing days are over.
No, they're not.
No.
So Joanna,
no, not at all.
What kind of made you take that leap? How did you know you had it? Like, what happened?
Well, I always knew I enjoyed singing. So I used to sing like on long car journeys and drive like my family mad. I was always singing around the house, but I didn't know if I could sing until I really wanted to go to a stage school. So as long as I can remember, I wanted to be an actress. I really didn't have anybody in my family who was from a performing background. It was completely weird and out of the blue, but it was just somewhere inside of me. I just felt that that's what I wanted to do. And I sort of, researched it, and I felt like going to a theatre school at that time was like a really good route. So I said to my mum and dad, I want to go to a stage school. And they were like, what? What's one of them? Why? Where has this come from? And they agreed with me that if I got in, if I passed the audition, then I would be allowed to go, because they said if I did have a talent, then they would support it, which was super lucky. But it wasn't until singing was part of the audition, and then I had actual singing lessons at the school, that I realized that I could sing. It was having singing lessons, and you've seeing the response, and a teacher says, oh, that sounded really good, try it like this, try it like that. But I always was singing as a character in a show. It was never as myself. But maybe, I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago, I decided that what I really wanted to do, if I was brave enough, was to sing as me.
Find your voice. Find your own voice.
Absolutely. And it's really different from standing in front of an audience and sort of going, hi, I'm Joanna and I'm going to sing for you now, than doing something that's really rehearsed. It's not you, because you're a character. You've been told what to do by a director. It hasn't all come from you. But I just felt that's what I should be doing if I had the confidence. And I'm so glad that I made the leap, and that I tried it, because I definitely feel like it's my lane or whatever. And it was
your
definitely
niche.
my niche. Yes,
it's your niche.
Yeah,
it really is. Your voice is exceptional. Of course,
your voice is stunning. I have to agree. I've also listened to the album, and it's just fantastic. Yeah, what a joy.
Thank you. That's so nice.
Tell us about the album you did for the policeman rugby player.
Yes,
that's so touching.
Oh, absolutely. So I'd heard the story of Matt Ratner, and like everybody else, I'd seen it on the news, and I thought, how tragic, how awful. And then completely out of doing his job in the line of duty. And I just thought, what an incredible man. But completely out of the blue, I had a call I have a mutual friend at East Grinstead Rugby Club where Matt was head coach. And she said, we need some music for a VT for Matt's nomination for his Unsung Hero Award for BBC Sports Personality of the Year. And I just thought, how exciting. Oh my goodness, he totally should win that. How can I help? So I contacted a brilliant pianist who lives near me, Joel Goodman, and together we worked out an arrangement, especially for Matt, which was just Joel's brilliant piano and voice.
It literally touches your heart.
Oh, thank you so much, because that's what we wanted, because we felt Weldon Union is usually this big, huge anthem, but we wanted something that was really sort of appropriate, just for Matt. And so we had a local studio in Loughton where we live, was so kind when they knew it was for Matt. They were like, you can have the session for free, which was just so kind. And everything from the distributors that I usually use for my music, they all worked in it for free. And we had their radio pluggers and publicists all did it, completely for free, because they knew that it was such an important reason, because they wanted it to be released to kickstart Matt's foundation, the Matt Ratner Rugby Foundation, which will make all his hopes and dreams for what he would have done with the rugby club come to fruition. So to be part of it was just like the biggest honor, such an honor. And when we recorded it, we had the chairman of the rugby club came down and watched, and my friend from the rugby club, and it was so emotional, because me and Joel, as we were recording it, you just think, oh gosh, we're doing this for like this reason, to just a tribute to this man who, when you hear about all the stories I've heard of him, he was just the best of the best. Me and Joel just feel really proud to have been asked, and his part.
You did them a absolute brilliant job. And didn't they use it at the funeral as well?
Yes, we couldn't believe it. So Sue, his partner, felt that she enjoyed it so much that she wanted it played at the funeral, and we were just like, wow, that was our hope, that if the family could appreciate it, and then and we could help, because music is healing, isn't it? And if we were a tiny part in helping anybody who was grieving for Matt heal, then we just couldn't be prouder. And he did win the Unsung Hero Award as well, which was just fantastic.
Yeah, that's lovely, isn't it? And I think, as you say, if you could be part of that, and especially at the funeral, so emotional, and you to be part of that, it must have been an absolute blessing.
Definitely.
No one will ever forget that, will they? Ever. And he must have been looking down and thinking, thank you. He must have done.
That was so that's what we wanted.
That's absolutely
something about glorious music for these emotional occasions that really brings it all together for everybody who attends, and every friend and family. It just speaks in a way that is very universal for everybody.
On a lighter note, I was told by, I don't know if you've heard of Zoe Tyler.
Yes, Zoe Tyler. It's my lovely cruise agent.
Is she Zoe? Then Zoe is my very, very good friend.
Oh, yay.
Very good friend, right? Zoe. And we did musicals and toured together.
Oh, and really? Amazing.
I even predicted her baby, her son. Yes, I predicted her son. I'm a bit of a psychic, actually. And what happened?
That's so interesting. I love all that.
Me too. So on that, Zoe, because we did musicals together, we're doing warm-up and things like that, and she does voice training, as you know, and plays the piano. I'm just hurrying up because I know you want to get rid of me with this. So she said that I couldn't, she said, Rusty, you've laughed away your opera voice. And so I thought, because I always like to go, and do all this sort of thing and sing. And she goes, sit on the note. So I go, and anyway, I saw another voice trainer and he thinks my opera voice is absolutely brilliant.
Well, that sounded brilliant from what I just heard. Definitely. Yes.
Is that what you have to do, Joanna, Rusty? I have to
I think they have to do something together.
How do you do it then?
I can just hear then that Rusty, you've got super high notes, so you're definitely a soprano. Wow.
Hey. So is it just one note you need to go? How did you do it again, Rusty?
I just no, but there's lots. You've got to do other notes. But I'm just pulling.
Wow.
That was a crap note. That was going off. That one was good, but the steady ones are.
Wow. Yes, you are a soprano. That's amazing. Brilliant high notes.
But on the fact that everyone can sing, because everyone can talk, and if you were to sing like you were to talk, it's like, hello, how are you? Or something like that. You would just, it's like a talking voice. So your talking voice would be a sing, you just sort of sing it along?
I think it's good to start with like a speaking tone. So you could be like, hello, how are you today? Even if it was like a bit lower, like think where is, like, I think I speak quite high probably because I've got quite a high voice, but I think it's wherever, if you were just having a chat and just speaking normally, where does your voice sit? And then, like Rusty said, just try and bring in some singing on that level is a really good start. Yeah.
I'm going to have a go, and then I think, Anna, we should have a little go. So I think mark out of 10.
Okay, I will try.
Hello, how are you?
You see, you see where she goes wrong. Where you go wrong is you're trying to do something that doesn't come natural.
No,
you just do hello, how are you? That would how you'd be, wouldn't you? Hello, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
You wouldn't go.
That was good.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, you'd have it all on the same level.
Same line. Hello, how are you?
Anna?
Okay. Hello, how are you?
That sounded really good. Yeah.
Good.
And when that develops, you'd be absolutely fine. So you have got a singing voice. Don't put yourself down, girl.
I'm quite good now. I've got Joanna and Rusty, giving me some tips. But Joanna, I have to ask you now, I know you've talked openly about having breast cancer at a young age. Like, how did you cope with that? It must have been such a difficult time for you.
Well, it was completely out of the blue. It was something that I never expected. And also it was something that wasn't talked about quite so much then. Thank goodness, awareness now. Like, it's so usual to talk about it. And if you think about, say, October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, there's so much like, huge collaborations with brands pushing the cause. And I think there's a lot more people who know the signs and symptoms than ever before and are going to their doctor super quickly. Lucky for me, I was on tour with a musical revue called The Best of Broadway, and I was a soloist, but I wasn't in the UK. I was touring Europe, and I just saw a lump. I wasn't looking for it or anything. I just saw it in the mirror, and I just remember thinking, that's really strange. Where did it come from? I don't remember seeing that yesterday. It was just so strange. So I made a mental note that I would show my mum when I got back to the UK, which luckily was only about 3 weeks later. And she was like, I think we should go and see the GP together. So went to see the GP, and he was like, don't worry, like, you're so young. This is nothing sinister to worry about. It's completely normal to get lumps and bumps. And it is. And I was completely the wrong demographic for him to think it was anything to worry about. But luckily, I said to my mum, I just had a feeling that it didn't really sit right with me. And I said, can we go back and perhaps maybe, like, is there a way of getting it removed? And so we went back to the GP, and he said, yes, that's a straightforward operation. You will have to have an anesthetic, blah, blah, blah. But I was really pleased that I did have it. It was a straightforward operation. But when I came back to get my stitches taken out, they called my mum in to see the surgeon and left me in the waiting room, which I thought was a little bit weird, for about 10 minutes. And I'm thinking, what's going on? Is my mum having an operation she hasn't told me about? What on earth could they be talking about? Why am I not getting my stitches taken out? But what they thought was sensible was to tell my mum first. We still don't know why they decided to do that. But they explained that they analysed these things as a matter of course, and that it was cancer. And then I just sort of had a whole world of questions about what would come next. So I had another operation, and then I had treatment, and which I was very nervous about. But what I now know
what was the treatment?
I had radiotherapy to start with, and then chemotherapy after that. And I think it's the unknown that you get nervous about, because, and I sort of vaguely knew about these treatments, but one of the only things that I knew was that they make you feel really unwell. But what I know now is that they are just so clever and life-saving, and that they're absolutely miraculous. And even if they have side effects, I luckily was successfully treated by by those treatments.
Yes,
But I think going through it younger at the time, I think everything was geared up for women who maybe were slightly older, like the leaflets and the information. And a lot of the really lovely, kind nurses, bless them, would always say something like, "Oh gosh, aren't you young? Oh my goodness, this is really unusual, isn't it?" And they'd sort of want to have a conversation about it. So I felt really like I must be the only person who this has happened to. I now know, of course, that it's rare, but it does happen, because when I discovered Copperfield Charity, and I saw that they have the Bubette program, which is when if you've had breast cancer young, you go and you share your story to wherever there's young people, like a school or a mother and baby group or a business. And you share your story and you do a presentation in the hope that they will then be inspired to check themselves, know the signs and symptoms, and go to the doctor straight away. And when I saw that, I just thought, this is something that I definitely should be doing. Like, I really felt strongly I could do that. I could share my story, and then at least I could help. And because I wanted to be, I left my theatre school and I started to get jobs in the industry. I was kind of in this weird place where I was advised by an agent at the time to never talk about it. She said, because nobody will want to employ you.
Yeah.
What?
And that is terrifying.
Yeah, that's
I know. I think she had the best. I think it came from a good place.
A good place.
I think she was trying to advise me with her experience of people who'd been unwell, but it did make me think, oh, maybe this is something I should never mention, and I shouldn't talk about it, because people will think if they employ me, I won't be up to the job, or perhaps I'll get unwell again, and all of that type of thing. And so when I was going through it, I didn't really talk about it a lot, only sort of like inner circle. But what I've now realized is that awareness is key, and the more you speak about these things, the more somebody might hear it and think, oh gosh, I maybe I should go to the doctor, because I've had something unusual for me appear, or a feeling, or a new pain.
Indeed.
So I now know that it's definitely a good thing, and I'm so proud to be a Bubette ambassador, because Copperfield are
What's it called? A Bubette?
A Bubette. Yes. Yeah, the charity's Copperfield, who are amazing. They're a really small charity, but they definitely shout super loud, and they save lives, and they work so hard to save lives. So if you've got
Joanna, a lump or something like that, it just go straight to the doctors, is that or hospital? What should you do, just if you're not sure if there's something there?
So first port of call, go and see your GP, who will absolutely want you to make an appointment. I think some people feel sometimes that you might be bothering your doctor, but that is what they're there for. They want you to come to them with your problems. That's why they're doctors.
Before it gets too bad, you see, of course. Before it gets too bad.
Yeah,
that's great. The show that we were talking about that I couldn't remember, Smokey Joe's Cafe.
Wow, amazing.
Smokey Joe's Cafe was a musical with and I was sort of one of the lead singers of the songs.
Rusty.
Wow.
I'm going to look it up and I'm going to listen.
It was a show that was on Broadway and brought to England, and we did the tour with it. It was fabulous. About 6 months or 7 months tour we did all over the country with Zoe.
So much fun. Joanna, do you tour much? Or I know, so you got your number one album, which is so exciting, but do you tour much? And obviously it's been difficult probably at the moment with COVID and how things have happened for you.
It's been so hard to do any live performances. I'm hoping that that's going to change. You'd hope so. Maybe towards the end of the year. I'm really hoping. I've got a few things in the diary, but some of them have been moved, and it's like the fourth time it's been put in for the same thing. So
in September, we're on tour with Zoe and we're doing a luncheon tour all over Britain.
Oh, fantastic.
So we'll do a luncheon tour. We're doing that in September. Yeah. So fingers crossed. So I understand. And your cruises, if you've been doing cruises then.
Yeah, there's been no cruises at all. No, I get updates from Zoe saying she's updating everybody on the agency, just saying, hang in there. Eventually, things will go back to normal. It's just not quite yet.
Yeah, no.
I definitely want to see both you ladies live.
I think we need a girls' night out.
I think we do. Yes, I think we do. We need to come out and support you. I'd love to.
Oh,
I'd love to do a little bit of opera with you, that I'd learn a part and do it.
That would be amazing. Yes, please.
I would love to do it. I would love.
That would be fantastic.
Yes,
I'd love to do that, but I'm going to have to watch you two instead. And I'm not. Joanna, I have to ask you, like, what sort of music do you listen to in your spare time? Do you listen to classical, or is it like Boyzone, or isn't me showing my age? Seriously,
well, I listen to all sorts, really. So maybe not Boyzone, more Take That. Yeah, I love all sorts. So yeah, definitely pop, whether it be Little Mix or something along those lines. I really enjoy listening to musical theatre because that's sort of like my background. I did a musical theatre course. I think some days you can't beat a bit of Les Mis. I really enjoy that. I love listening to singers who I think I can also learn something from, whether that be like, Celine Dion or Mariah Carey. But when you just think Barbara Streisand, where you think, wow, that's just like a masterclass in just like an amazing voice. I really do like the classical crossover genre as well.
I also love it. Absolutely love it. It's my favorite when I stream music on a Sunday. It's always the human voice, and particularly soprano voices. I just adore them. There's something so beautiful and uplifting with soprano, beautiful, clear voices.
It is uplifting, isn't it? And I think sometimes it depends how you're feeling, what you want to listen to, doesn't it?
What about reggae?
Love that too.
Yes,
reggae.
Bit of reggae, yes. Yeah.
I love my reggae. It's like when I'm on the cruise, when I do the cookery demonstrations and that, we have a Caribbean night.
Oh, brilliant.
On the cruise, we go to the Caribbean. I generally go from Southampton to the Caribbean and back. So I'm away for a month, really.
Amazing.
So we do that cruise. So we do a Caribbean night, and there's all the Caribbean food, all my recipes. So I get that done in the kitchen. And then we have the steel band and everything on top deck. And the music's going in the Caribbean food. Brilliant.
Amazing. Antigua is one of mine and my husband's like favorite places. There's a hotel there that we go to, and it's just such a stunning place. It's just so beautiful.
As you say, it's uplifting, and you need something like that, especially at the moment. We need uplifting, and especially if we can come on tour and go traveling with Anna, then I think that would be so much fun.
I wouldn't travel. I would just sit there and write the little newsletter, and then I'll travel, of course, to come and be in the audience and clap and cheer and say how wonderful.
You'd have the best time.
Yes,
yeah,
we like that. So, Joanna, I have to just ask lastly, obviously, I know you've got lots on today, but what's next for you? What's sort of happening? What have you got? Another album, or what's going on?
I would love to make another album. I haven't got like firm plans for that. I think mainly because everything's sort of still in pencil at the moment, isn't it? Rather than you can't really firm anything up, can you? But I just love making an album. It's so exciting, from thinking about what's going to be on it, then the arrangements, and then the orchestra record day, and then holding it in your hand. Like, it's just so exciting.
Absolutely beautiful.
But Joanna, thank you so much for your time, and we're going to hopefully have a clip so everyone can listen to some of your music, and if they want to buy your album, you know, we would be privileged. I just want to hear more, so thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate
album is beautiful. Yes.
Oh, it's been so lovely chatting to you, ladies.
Oh, lovely to meet you, and I'm sure we'll meet again. Especially that you know Zoe as well.
Don't
yes.
No, but thank you, Joanna. I really appreciate your time and our connection to up. Thank you, Joanna. I appreciate
Thanks so much.
Thanks for the time.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Oh, lady, she was so lovely and so
gorgeous.
So talented. And
she's gorgeous
as well.
Gorgeous, yes.
Absolutely stunning. And I was still a bit embarrassed. I can't believe that she sort of sung in front of like you, Rusty, and Joanna. A bit embarrassed, but
no, don't be. You honestly, ladies, you've got voices. You really have. It's just like talking. Simple as that.
My other half has just said, no, you haven't. Honestly.
She has. Well, my darlings, are we done?
Yes, we're done. I think it's been a great show, some great advice.
Really lovely guests.
Yeah, lovely.
Yes.
Next week we've got some really exciting guests and another little bit of eye candy for you ladies. So
we like that.
But I'll let you go. I know you've all got busy days, but thank you so much. Good to see you.
Love. Bye.
Have a lovely week.
Dream team.
I'll see you next week, the Dream Team.